Hi, welcome to the 1 Liter Podcast. You will watch us drinking 1 liters of beer whilst talking about shies. Please like and subscribe. Welcome to the 1 Liter.
Prost.
Oh, Prost. Prost. Sorry, I
Cheers.
drank before we started.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome to a couch edition of the 1 Liter Podcast, the casual condition. Hopefully the audio quality is good enough. Actually, legitimately first time testing these mics. And welcome to Nick.
Thank you very much.
Nick
Excited
on the
to be
podcast.
here.
Yeah.
A very cool beat at the beginning, by the way.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming for you to be on this spodcast.
It has. I've been inspired since the beginning. But I've just never made it down to Sydney, but now you're in Brisbane, so here we are, testing out DJI mics and
DJI mics in Brisbane edition.
in the Bean Lees.
Now, what were you just saying about auditioning for Qantas commercial when you were an infant?
Yeah. Well, you couldn't stop singing the I Am, We Are Australia.
You are.
And then when I was in year 2, they had a... We were sitting in class one day and we had this random person rock up and they were like, we're doing auditions for the choir for that. And everyone was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then we all had
Were
to
you in the
sit there
choir
and-
or were you just like...
I was in the choir when I was
nice.
a little boy, actually.
Nice.
And then we had to stand there and then sing. And then she would come around and she'd listen to all of us singing.
Oh.
And then she'd hand out like a piece of paper, like,
Just said-
like you are selected kind of thing. Yeah. You are selected. And she handed it to me and a bunch of other kids. Or not a bunch, but like a few other kids. And then I went home and showed my mum. But then, we just never did it. So I could have been one of those guys in the white. But
It could have been,
I
if
wasn't.
anyone that hasn't seen it, it used to pan to like Australian landmarks with the kids' choir all standing there like weirdos and singing up at the camera, which was probably like a drone or something.
Probably a chopper back in the day.
Probably a chopper, and then the Qantas plane would be like, psh.
Yeah. It was always played like at the beginning of Wallabies games and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Because
Classic.
Qantas was a major sponsor of the Wallabies back in the day.
I don't know if I can tell you what Qantas ads are these days.
I don't think anyone could tell you what a Qantas ad is
No.
unless you're over the age of 45 and you still watch like free-to-air TV.
Exactly.
If you're
But-
under the age of 45, you're pretty much watching on demand the whole time.
But I heard, let me just not move that around. I heard from you that you don't watch that much YouTube.
I don't watch a heap of YouTube. Like, I'll watch, I get my dopamine hit from fucking Reels, like
Yeah.
95% of the
Yeah.
population at the moment. And Reels are on everything. That's what's so
Dude.
scary about it, is it's like, it started off with Vine back in the day, which like
Yeah.
the original Logan Paul, Jake Paul bullshit came out on.
Yeah.
And then the lemon guy was like, lemons. You remember him?
There was a lot of things.
There's
that
a lot of
started on
random
Vine.
shit there. And apparently what happened with them was Twitter bought it
Yep.
and
did
just
nothing
did
with
nothing with it and it fucking died.
Yeah.
It was like the
Idiots.
original TikTok. We could have been
Idiots.
addicted to Reels like 10 years earlier than what we were.
Look at us now.
And now-
falling behind.
And now TikTok's come out, or like years ago now.
Well,
and
then it was like, Reels not so much, but it was like the stories became a big thing on
Yeah.
Snapchat. Then Instagram copied it, and then it became the short form videos.
Yeah.
With now TikTok and Instagram. But I legit recently deleted the Instagram app for a while, then reinstalled it because I have some people that I only speak to on Instagram.
yeah.
And then now I've just got the notifications off, and it kind of keeps me off the Reels.
Yeah, I did the same thing, yeah.
But the YouTube Reels is
Yeah.
what get me. Because
Yeah.
I'll literally pull up YouTube to look something up, and I'll be like, oh, what's Neil deGrasse Tyson saying now?
And then 15
Next
minutes
minute.
later, you're just like
Yeah.
this. The scariest part about the Reels was like early on when we had Remy, he was like a year and a half old, maybe a year and a quarter, something around there. And Miss Rachel used to calm him down like a lot. Like,
Oh, that's right.
He used to be freaking out. He'd, just be like, all right, let's just chill out 15 minutes, watch some Miss Rachel, resets him kind of thing. Then you can go and play and do whatever. It's all good. He wouldn't sleep one night. Like, he was just going crazy. Like 2 a.m. Jackie and I were just absolutely exhausted. And we're out here and I came out here, brought him out from the room on the couch. I'm lying here. I just sort of lay it around him just to trap him in. And I put Miss Rachel on my phone. I gave it to him, and he's just sitting there watching it like this. And he's just like having a great time. I've dozed off. I've woken up like half an hour later, and it wasn't Miss Rachel that was playing. And he had the phone like vertical, and he was flicking through fucking reels like
No
this.
way.
He was doing this at like a year and a bit old, and he's like flicking through it. I'm like, the amount of dopamine that is going like pumping through his body right now.
He's like, I get it.
He'd be like on the nod. He'd be like, oh yeah, this is so good. Like, oh fuck.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Because that is literally just watching adults do it, and then like, oh, I know how this works.
Yeah, but it's such a simple gesture as well, which is the other bit as well. Like very simple to work out.
And you could
easy gesture.
You could like just do this and then be like, oh, more content. More content. You could almost accidentally swipe.
Exactly.
Reels.
And then he just goes store and just continues to do it. That's the scary part about it. It's what you got to be really careful of. Like we've been really careful around with iPads and all that sort of shit. Like we don't have an iPad for him. Like he's limited to about half an hour a day of like some sort of educational something or other,
Screen
like
time.
not fucking Peppa Pig or something stupid like that, which just bombs them with dopamine because of all the high contrast colors and stuff.
Yeah.
It should be illegal, man. It's really fucking bad for him, eh? And whereas like Miss Rachel's like, yeah, it's got high contrast in it. Oh, the German version, Miss Yolzi's got high contrast, but it's real stuff. Like it's going to like a water park and stuff. Like things that they can relate to later on. So,
yeah, something they can replicate IRL, not just a cartoon thing.
Not just Peppa Pig running around. And there was actually a study or not a study, but there was this thing that this chick did on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. And basically she was saying like, you know, my kid was having bulk tantrums and stuff, watching all of these like new programs for kids like Paw Patrol and Peppa Pig and fucking some of the other ones. I don't even know them all, but her kid was having like bulk tantrums when she was turning them off. She's like, I never used to do that when I was a kid. She asked her parents, like, I never did. She's like, no, we didn't have that issue. Like, we turned the cartoons off and it was done. It was all good. Maybe sometimes, but yeah, for the most part, it was all good. So she went on Disney Plus or something like that and started watching like all of the old ones that she used to watch as a kid. Boom, went away. All of the like issues of turning it off went away. So like Bear in the Big Blue House and all those sorts of ones we used to watch when we were kids. He was watching them and she turned them off and it was all good. Because he wasn't like stupidly addicted to them.
Right.
Because of all the high contrast.
Yeah, so it's not hyper palatable content. It's like hyper palatable foods. That's why we're all fat. Because it's just
plus all the processing.
Yeah. But that's kind of what helps it be hyper palatable because it's like, oh, you want this normal flavor? No. We'll add some sugar and then we'll add some hint of paprika under there and
put a bit of saline with heroin in it.
Basically. Sugar is basically a brain drug. It's just like, I need more.
There was actually something just recently that all the pouches for kids they had, which I only found out about recently, which is actually quite disturbing in a lot of ways. So when a new food is created, right? So you've got, say, like a pouch thing for kids. It's got banana and mango in it or something like that.
a little mushed
You've got to
up thing.
send it away to the nutritional guidelines authority, whoever they may be, whatever they're called, I don't actually know. But you send it away to these guys, and then they break it down and they assess what's in it. So proteins, carbohydrates, sugars, dietary fibers, like all that sort of stuff. That's what's written on the back of the packet.
Is that where the label comes from?
Yeah, that's where the label comes from.
Third-party body?
Yep.
Oh,
so it's a third-party body. But this is the funny bit. The company only has to send the product there once.
Right.
That's it.
And then they can make
once it's done, that's it. They can just fucking change it, do whatever they want. I don't know how much they can change it. There must be some parameters, but they can change it. So they did this thing recently and they assessed all those kids' products and stuff, and it was vastly different from what was written on the back of the packet. So parents are trying to do the right thing, like, you know, myself included, going like, how much sugar's in this? Okay. And then you got to sort of make that assessment, like, is it natural sugar or is it processed sugar? Because, like, we bought some paleo bars today. They got, like, 16 grams of sugar in them or something like that, but it's got, like, fucking dates and raisins and shit in it. So it's like, okay, so that's not a processed sugar as per.
Yeah.
But you look at like a fruit roll-up, it's only got 12 grams of sugar in it. It's like, yeah, but it's like
It's
highly
full.
refined processed sugar out of a
Refined.
cane mill.
White sugar that gets poured in
Yeah.
as an ingredient.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's always, you got to compare the nutritional label to the ingredient list. Because if the ingredients are like water, sugar, then you're like, oh, I see. Maybe not this one.
Yeah.
That's with so many things. I've always liked pickles, but I've recently been snacking on pickles more because you get the dill pickles, not the ones that say sweet. So low in calories. I'm
True.
Like, so much better than snacking on anything else.
Yeah.
Just have a pickle.
Something that so my PT wrote me a a guideline for the 8-week challenge that I just did.
Pickle juice?
No.
For the salt.
Spinach, actually. No.
Ooh.
no.
Popeye.
No, it was fucking rice cakes.
Mmm.
Bro, game changer. Like, because you know when you're working out hard and working hard at work and stuff, like the amount of energy that you're burning is full on. So I was eating so much food and I'm struggling to like control what I'm eating as well because I'm doing this challenge. I don't want to get fat.
Mm-hmm.
So like the goal of the challenge was to build as much muscle but cut down as well. So it was like
lose weight and build muscle.
lose weight, build
gain
muscle.
Strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like basically the two that don't really go in the same category is what I was trying
Basically
to do.
what normies say is not possible.
Yeah, I mean, which was fucking possible. It was very possible because I nailed it. But yeah, it was dude. It's like 3 rice cakes. I could have that snack at like 10 and 2, and I'd be kosher.
Oh yeah. That
And
would
the
carry
best
you.
part about it is it makes you really thirsty. So you're smashing your water intake as well. 3.7 a day, baby.
3.7. You were
3.7
smashing
a
3.7
day.
liters. Fuck, I could not do
3.7
that.
a day. It was hard.
I might
hard.
be. Yeah, I might just get to 3 on like hot days, but other than that, just 1 liter of beer, baby. Jokes. I don't do that, everyone. That's not how I hydrate.
Nah, not at all.
Now, speaking of raising children, and I've been observing this in the last week too, which was what you brought up, is limiting beliefs.
Limiting beliefs.
And you can observe this in child. Because you're like, as soon as he says, no, I don't like that.
Yep. Doesn't
You're like, okay,
it.
I can just, but you can just be like, okay, he doesn't like it. And then you just like, that is just fact.
Yeah.
Whereas when they're that young, you just got to be like, okay, he doesn't like it right now. It can literally change this afternoon.
Yeah.
So if you as a parent then go, no, you don't like that, then you're just instilling that. Whereas he could have just had a bad day or like got a bit of a fright from something and you're like, oh, he doesn't like that.
Yep.
It's got to be flexible.
There is so much to unpack with limiting beliefs, and there's so many different ways that you can look at it as well. So, I mean, a prime example is like how you as a parent react to something that's happened with your child.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Remy was running around the fucking living room here the other day. Trips on the couch, smash, like proper splat onto the ground, like a good one. First thing I did was laughed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your natural reaction is to, but you've got to overcome that. You've just got to piss yourself laughing. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he sees me laughing, he's like, we're all good. We're kosher.
Exactly.
If I'm to like flip my digit and be like, oh my God, he's just going to absolutely go nuts.
Yeah.
And we've seen it on so many different levels. Like if he he's smashed his head on the side of the table before, he's done all sorts of shit. If you just try and laugh, he'll still cry, but he'll get over it a lot faster than what he would is if you instill that fear into him, which is, oh God, something's really wrong. If they're freaking out, I'm freaking out. And it's the sheep effect. Like it's a herd mentality. Like if the whole pack is freaking out about something, everyone's going to freak out. And it only takes one person, and then that one person trying to stand up for everything is just overshadowed by panic.
Yeah. You've seen, I've seen plenty of videos of people holding their baby. You go near a wall and you smack the wall and then go, oh, and they're like, I'm hurt. Like, you didn't touch anything.
Nothing
child.
happened to you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the limiting beliefs thing came from we were at a Friendsmas thing just recently, and we were talking about like we were at a table. There's probably like I think there's 3 registered nurses there, so they were talking about work like a lot.
Yeah.
Because a lot of crazy shit goes on. Like, they've got some
They
full-on
see
stories.
some shit.
But they were going on about how like they treat dementia patients and stuff, and obviously they can be extremely unpredictable and very unstable. But they were saying like the strength that they have is incredible. Like they can pick up like monitoring units and stuff that are like 100 kilos and just yeet them across the room.
Jesus.
And it's like Jackie was sitting there and she had like this aha moment, which she shared with me in the time, and she's like, "This is all about limiting beliefs. Like." They don't remember that they can't pick that up. So they just pick it up and throw it. Like it's not in their mind that they can't do that. So they just do it. They're in that fight or flight mode, and it's like adrenaline's pumping, you just yeet it across the thing.
Yeah.
It's that thing that like, it's same thing with the mothers picking the cars off kids. Like, if it's not in your mind that you can't do it, then you can do it.
And there's obviously a window there. There's a window of physical capabilities, but the I can't do it belief obviously comes from certain things, right? Because you would think, let's take the picking a car up for an example. You and I both well know that if you try and lift up a car, the lip where you're grabbing it, that's going to cut into your hands.
Yeah.
So one of them will be, I can't do that because I'm going to cut my hands. Yeah. Whereas if it's like pumped adrenaline, your child needs saving, you're like, I don't care about cutting my hands. Yeah. So there's one thing that already just flies out the window. Like that limit is no longer there. So you're like, my hands are getting fucked up. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then you don't care about other things like if I tear a muscle, whatever.
And I've seen this in real life. One of my best friends did it. So when I was working at Isuzu and the truck fell on top of me and I got pinned underneath the truck. There's they've got like any mechanics out there.
Yeah, give us some details. What happened to you?
Basically, we're underneath the truck. We're swapping out some trailing arms on the back of the truck, airbag suspension. I'm a diesel fitter by trade. Like, I don't work on fucking trucks. I hate trucks and shit. I'm used to fixing like excavators and diggers and shit, not fucking trucks. So I don't know a lot about them. I didn't know a lot about them. I know a lot more about them now. But basically, trailing arms are like the only thing that holds the diff from the truck to the chassis of the truck. So we've jacked up the truck from the axle itself instead of from the chassis. So all the weight of the truck is on the axle. It's got airbag suspension. So basically it has no sort of support in itself. It's just a big cushion basically, right? And the trailing arm bushes keep it doing that. We took them off. So suddenly it had nothing supporting it. So as soon as we knocked it off, Nathan saw it sort of start to slip, and then he's like, get out. I've grabbed like the back of the truck and like thrown myself out underneath it because I was on a creeper. I've done like a 180 and my foot's gone underneath where the tyres were. And then the tyres have just come down and landed on my foot and like pinned me underneath the truck. And then I'm there like screaming, carrying on like a pork chop as you would. Luckily, him and the TA that we had at the time, it later became an apprentice, but he nearly got fucked up as well. But yeah, anyone that's a mechanic out there will know they've got like these Aqua gearbox jacks.
Yeah.
And they're good for good couple 100 kilos, like big gearboxes. And they probably weigh like 80 kilos. Like they are heavy, like really heavy, maybe even more. And Nathan, he's a big friend of mine, but he basically picked one of them up while I was pinned underneath the truck. He's picked one of them up, sprinted across the workshop, thrown it underneath the truck, and then started like jacking it up.
Jesus.
And then he didn't actually remember doing that because he was in full adrenaline mode. And it was only the next day when we went back to work, my foot was fine, I was fine, everything was fine, truck wasn't damaged. Like workplace health and safety came in and we're like, oh, everything looks fine, and then walked out. There's more about that later. There's more, but basically, the next day he's looking at his arms. He's like, why the fuck are my arms so sore? He's like, what? And then he's like pressing him. He's like, what the fuck? And then one of the other guys said to him, he's like, bro, you picked up the gearbox jack and ran across the workshop with it. Jesus. And he went and tried to pick it up. He's like, I don't know how I picked that up.
Yeah.
So that's just the full, he's like, best mate's under the truck. I got to get him out. I'm picking it up and I'm moving it across there. And it's like, you don't even realize that you've done it.
Yeah. That's wild, eh? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Have I ever been in a full adrenaline situation like that? Where it's just like tunnel vision?
No.
I don't even know if I have.
It's rare. Like, it's not something that you encounter on like a day-to-day.
No.
There's lots of people out there that crave that. Like, that's where the whole adrenaline junkie thing comes into it, is like people that just crave that feeling.
I suppose it's probably a good thing that we can't remember last time if we've experienced that, because you probably don't want to, because it's probably a situation
usually
that you don't
traumatic.
want to be in. Yeah. Usually
that requires therapy.
Correct. Years and years.
Fucking
what, you mean more? Fuck.
I love going to the therapists. They're my favourite. But yeah,
that's where the limiting beliefs comes from.
Yeah, well, that's where, like, I mean, and there's just so much to unpack about it. Like, limiting beliefs, like, it goes into everything as to what Tony Robbins says, and a lot of other people say. They're like, you've got to believe that you can do it. Like, you've got to believe in the outcome to even start. There's no point in starting if you don't even believe that you can do it. Because then you've just talked yourself out of it.
Exactly.
Without even starting, you've just talked yourself out of it. You're like, I can't do this.
Yeah, and it boils down to everything, really. Like, if you want to make content, and you watch other people's content, and you're like, mine's never going to be as good as that.
Yeah.
Then you just won't even start.
No.
Or if you want to earn money and you've got someone that makes way more money than you, and you're like, they're probably better than me at that. Like, it's almost, and I find this with myself too, it's like you put yourself in a, this is what I'm worth box of earnings, for instance, like just as a simple one, because we all work jobs and make money. So it's like, you don't think that you're worth, or that a company will pay you X amount of money, because you don't believe that you're worth that. Yeah. So like, you're literally limiting yourself. And I mean, it's easier said than done. You could be like, oh yeah, I'll just fucking ask for more money. And you're like, yeah, it's not that simple. Well, you have to actually believe that you're worth it, and then that you're going to do the work that makes you worth it.
There's a difference between, like,
self-entitlement.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the arrogance of the situation. Like, because I mean, you've got those people that, like, I'm going to be the fuck, and they're just, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And, like, they're doing it, but they're doing it in such an arrogant way that in itself is actually holding them back as well.
Yeah.
Because they're not, like, they're almost embodying it too much. And it's like, wow, like, where's the line here? Like, you've got to have this self-belief, but you can also come across as, like, a total idiot. In a way.
Total idiot. And then also it's the whole, yes, to some degree, you'll always be a bit of fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
But other parts of it will be like, you don't want to fake it too hard, because people will see right through you.
Exactly.
If you're like, no, I can do this, and then you just produce shit.
Yeah.
They'll
like
know.
V-Shred.
Yeah. Well, I just saw a thumbnail for Mike Israetel being like, exposing the lies of V-Shred. I'm like, to watch later.
Exposing the lies, like, bro, the lies were exposed a long time ago.
Is he still doing shit though?
He is. He had a new one come out. Oh, I can't even remember what it was.
V-Shred.
He was like one of the original guys that just, like, you know, rented out like a mansion and just carried on like an idiot about some weird fad. You can eat pizzas as much as you want and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that was the original one, wasn't it? It was like, you can eat whatever you want. But, I mean,
I think it's like,
that's true.
20 minutes of talking about some secret.
Oh, yeah.
That
that's right.
will make you be able to eat whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. And just for anyone listening, anyone that tells you that there's a secret
They're lying.
and that you just need to know one thing or eat one thing, absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Such lies. Most people already know what there is to know about losing weight. Theoretically.
Yeah. I mean,
the
general population know that eating McDonald's and things like that is not a good way to lose weight. I mean, if you said to someone, how do you lose weight? They're going to be like, go on a diet, go to the gym, go for a walk, be a little bit more active, eat more fruits and vegetables, eat more salads.
I might have to take that back. There's a lot of idiots out there.
But they're they're like, the world is like full of morons. Hey, like,
well, it's the confused idiots, right? They're like, but I eat. Let me tell you a story. I worked with this bloke, a 50-year-old dude, bit overweight, used to play footy. He's like, and his life was over, right? He's just like, I'm so old. I'm like, dude, I don't plan on being anywhere as debilitated as you when I'm 50. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But constantly whinging. And he's like, I want to try and lose weight. What should I do? So I'm just giving him like the soft advice. I don't want to be like, you have to do this. You have to change everything. But I'm like, what are you eating? He's like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. Like, I'm eating healthy. And I'd see him. His lunch would be like salmon, pieces of salmon, and some veggies. Like, legit. And I'm like, that looks like you should be getting shredded, dude. Like, unless you're eating way too much salmon.
Unless you're eating 15 of them a day.
Yeah, because that's like, salmon is calorie rich because it's high in fat, which is not bad. By the way, anyone listening, eat fat.
Yeah.
Healthy fat. But he was like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. I just don't understand. And I'm like, well, what else are you eating? Like, I see you eat this. He's like, what are you eating for dinner? He's like, it's like the same. It's just like meat and vegetables. And I'm like, okay, what else are you eating? Like, tell me everything that you place into your mouth. He's like, that's it. That's all I eat. I'm like, okay, right. Same day, probably a couple of hours later in the day, he walks into my office and he's like, do you think it could be the popcorn? And I'm like, what popcorn? Please elaborate. He's like, well, after dinner, like, we'll sit down in front of the TV and I'll have like a bag of popcorn. And I'm like, what kind of bag? The pre-bought, the chips packets of popcorns, pre-bought popcorns. He's like, yeah, I'll have like a bag or two. I'm like, which ones? Oh, like the caramel ones? I'm like, bro, that's like anywhere from 800 to 1,000 calories a bag. Like, you've just doubled your day of caloric intake.
In one sitting.
Absolute idiot. But yeah, I left that.
Did he lose weight?
I left there and then came back like probably a year later and saw him and I'm like, oh shit. I was like, he's either sick or he's cut out the popcorn because he had just like trimmed down. I was like, must have been the popcorn.
I'd say it was probably the popcorn.
Almost guaranteed it would have been the popcorn. Cutting down the popcorn. But dude, that is like, you could be eating 2,000 calories for the day and then have 2 bags of that and you'll just double your day.
Yeah. Like, you're just fucked. That's like the hardest part about it is like, that's a habit, right? Like, but the easiest thing to do is just replace one habit with another. Mm-hmm. Like, I've just been smashing apples.
Mm-hmm. Or me with the pickles.
Crunchy, delicious.
Yeah.
Doesn't have like 1,000 calories in it. It's got like what, 60?
And it's
not even that. It's got sugars in it. Like, it's got everything.
Now, I'm not going to claim that this is healthy because I don't believe it is. But we love a good chocky in the evening.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But Coke Zero, they've brought out the no caffeine version. No, not that one. That's got caffeine in it still. But Coke Zero, no caffeine, right? Late at night, before bed, drink one of those. A whole can is like 1.5 calories. So I'm like, I could eat like 2 rows of chocolate and be 200 calories down, or 1.5 calories for a sweet can of sweet drink that just hits the spot the same.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, put a nickel in it, disappears, whatever. Just do that to my stomach.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably still no good.
That's fucking shit. But it's better. Like, and that's the thing is that you don't have to be perfect with what you do. Like, in the challenge, I got sick for a week, and instead of forcing myself through it, like, absolutely KOing myself for the rest of the challenge, you just take the week off. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's the best thing that you can do for your body anyway, at the end of the day, like, in my view, because, like, I'll go to the gym, like, every single day for fucking 3 weeks straight. You know what I mean? You'd be jumping on the leg press or something like that, and you're like, fuck, like, this is heavy. Like, this is heavy. And I'm not doing, like, massive weights or anything, but they're big for me. And I'm doing it, I'm like, fuck, Jesus. Like, and you're pushing, man. Like, you're doing, like, a really hard session. After I had that week off, even though I was sick, I went on the leg press, and I was setting PBs after a week. It's like, because your body's actually had time to recover. It's
and
like,
it'd probably be better if you weren't sick, but that's a commonly known thing. Like, if you have a week or even 2 weeks off, you most of the time you'll do a harder weight than before, a heavier weight than the previous weeks, if you've been continuously training before that.
Yeah.
Because that really comes down to that most people don't actually give themselves enough recovery. That's usually what that is. So then all of a sudden your body's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
We can build.
That's something that Eddie Hall said. He was, I think it was on his lead up to that 500 kilo deadlift. He was going on about, like, he was training hard to try and be able to do it. So he'd do like a 1 rep max deadlift at the gym, and you know, he'd wait a couple of days, and then he'd go to do it again, and he wouldn't be able to do it. And he's like, what the fuck? So then he sort of waited another couple of days, tried it again, and still wasn't able to do it. He's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, waited another couple of days, still couldn't do it. And he was going down. And he's like, this is fucked up. And then he's like, what's happening? Like, I'm eating food. Like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. He's like, why am I going backwards? And then he realized, he was talking to someone. He's like, you just did like a 1 rep max deadlift. He's like, yeah. Now, like, I can't lift it again. I'm going backwards. I'm just going the wrong way. I just feel weak. He's like, yeah, it takes you like a week and a half to 2 weeks to recover from a 1 rep deadlift max.
Yeah.
1.5
rep
weeks,
max, for that matter.
That's so long.
Yeah.
It's a fucking long time.
You do a 1 rep max squat, you do a 1 rep max bench, you shouldn't attempt another 1 rep max for at least a week.
Yeah.
Because one of my mates did that too. Like, every time we'd have a chest session, he'd be like, oh, let's try and hit a max. And I'm like, no, we did that this week. It'll be right. God
No,
damn.
it won't be.
God damn it.
Did you see that Thai bodybuilder that snapped his neck when he was doing the 1 rep squat?
No.
No? Oh,
Bad?
Jamie, bring that up.
Can you bring that up, Jamie? Is it bad? Did he die?
Yeah, he died.
Oh.
Yeah, he got fucked up. So he had it like behind his neck, squatted down, couldn't press up, but leaned forward.
Oh, no.
And it's just gone, and it's just sheared his neck. Like, snapped his neck here. It's just rolled and just snapped his neck. And he's just crumbled and fucking died.
Oh.
And it's just like,
That's
holy
not
fuck.
good.
Like, that's...
Yeah.
And he had a spotter. He had everything. Like, he just couldn't
Normally
he couldn't
those
get it back up.
those guys will... Like, he should be...
He should be able to eject.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He should be able to eject real well. I've never ejected from a squat, so I'm like scared to try a max.
Yeah.
Actually, I did my annual, that's what it's been dubbed now, my annual CrossFit class. Because I don't do it often, but we found one just up in Underwood and went there on Christmas Eve day, I think. And yeah, the workout was a bit of weightlifting, so work up to a max squat. And then they had like the standard CrossFit workout with like a certain weight, and then you do cleans, then you do 5 cleans, 5 front squats, 5 overhead presses,
so just
run around the block.
It's just hit shit.
Oh,
Much,
man.
Yeah.
I die with that shit. I was the last one to finish because it was for time. The whole fucking gym's like, come on, you can do it. I'm like, fuck you all.
Shut up. Leave
Trying
me
to do
alone.
toes to
Everyone
bar.
turn around and face the wall.
And Em's like, come on, you gotta finish it. You gotta keep going. I'm like, I hate you. And I'm just doing toes to bar. I'm like in the pain cave, my eyes closed. And afterwards I was like, I think I'm gonna die. But
You didn't. You still
I didn't. But yeah, the heavy squat, I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna work up to here because I don't want to have to ditch this weight for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I don't want to eject from a squat first time ever and then wreck myself just before Christmas. You know?
Yeah.
Not gonna do that. Apparently, it's really easy
What?
ejecting from a squat.
Oh, yeah. I've seen
Like
Sam.
it's
Sam
probably
Stewart
quite
do it and
natural.
shit like
you
that.
just
Yeah.
like it's gonna basically propel you forward anyway as the bar. I just like in my brain, my imagination is that I will ditch it and it's gonna hit the bottom of my like the top of my
Your
hip.
anus.
Yeah, my anus. It's gonna hit my anus and just take my anus off. Just cut off my ass.
Yeah.
My lower back.
I don't squat.
Yeah.
I don't squat.
Oh yeah, you got a pretty. You're not a good lower back.
Not a
yeah.
good core on me. No, it's something that I've been working on a lot recently.
Do you do any like light squat work?
The only squat work I do is to get into the yogi squat position and hold
to
that
stretch it.
to stretch everything out. Mine's just solely stretch related, I think.
Yeah.
Like I don't have it's something that I really want to work on like a lot more though, like in relation like a lot more body weight training, sort of like calisthenics type thing.
Yeah.
Want to do a lot more of that because those guys seem to have fucking wicked cores and that's what you need.
And the
at the end of the
mobility
day.
in your case as well, if you're doing it for stretches, because like I don't have a good squat either, but I've just recently also just dialed back the weight again and just gone since the whole Mike Israetel with his full range of motion. I've just been like, yep, I'm going to dial it back and literally just sit my ass, basically touch my heels with it.
Yeah.
And then come back up. So just doing the full range and doing it way lighter and just still getting a hectic burn. And I'm like, okay, just work up from that.
The number one thing that nails my legs is the FSTs on the leg extension. So it's this thing that my trainer does. He showed me, and they fucking suck. Like they are disgusting.
I think I tried these after I watched you do it.
So 7-7s. So you're locked into and the best part about it is when you do it with someone else, and he gets a yoga mat and he puts it in between the cushion and your legs, so that it pushes your legs up even further into the fucking leg extension. So your legs are like proper locked in, and your quads are stretched out to the max. So you do 7 of like, I don't know, if your fucking 1 rep max is like 90 or 80 or whatever, then pretty much just halve it.
50% of your
50% or 40 to 50% seems to be what he does for me. I actually haven't asked him the fucking ratio, but seems to be about what it is because, you know, my 1 rep's probably like 80 and I'm doing about 35 or 40, 45, depending on if he's being a fucking idiot or not. But, and it's just 7 leg extensions, and then stop for 7 seconds.
7 seconds.
And then
rest.
7 leg extensions, stop for 7 seconds. And oh my God, I will tell you by the end of that, if you're not in tears on the ground, you haven't done it properly. Especially for the first time that you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then it's even better when he gets these. He's got like a spin thing on his phone. So you just like press the button and it spins. He's got 1 to 100 on it. And he's like, spin. And he's like, higher or lower than 50? I'm like, higher. And it was fucking lower than 50, which means we've got to do it again. So I spin it. It was like 80. So I did 80 reps.
Like flipping a coin.
So basically. I did 80 reps on leg extension.
80 reps.
With 30 kilos. And then 35 kilos, I think. Can't remember. Spins it again. Like, obviously, toward the end, he's fucking half pumping it like this as well. He's like, spin it again. I was wrong again, so I got to do it again. Like, another round afterwards. And it was, I think it was 60-something. By the end of it, I'd done about 250 reps. By the time I'd finally got it right.
Jesus.
And I actually couldn't move afterwards. I had to, like, get up and just, like, sort of, like, he's like, I think we're done. I'm like, yeah, I reckon we're probably done. He's a fucking animal, this guy. Hey, he's an absolute animal.
That sucks. We would, sometimes we'd go, 'cause when I used to go gym at lunch, sometimes we'd just go and my mate would be like, should we do like 100 chin-ups, 100 pull-ups? And that was just the whole workout. Because it would take us like 45 minutes to just, by the end, you're just doing reps of 2. Like, 1, 2, okay, rest.
Okay.
Chin-ups are hard. And
it's one of those things though, like
body weight stuff, man. If
body
you want to
weight
get good at that,
is really good. Hey, like I'm actually going to build some of those bar things that those calisthenics guys have got. I'm going to fold some of them up and weld them together. So I've got some because we made some out of fucking PVC, like pipe.
Yeah.
Jackie's like, these would be good as, and I'm like on them and they're like flexing. I'm like,
nah,
I don't think that's a good idea.
You're gonna get some proper metal ones, or
yeah, I'll just bend it up.
Yeah.
Just bend it and weld like feet on them and shit, and it'd be good.
That'd be sick. It's like,
and sell them and stuff. You know,
then
make money.
where are you doing your pull-ups? Because like pull-ups are, I want to be better at pull-ups because like they're currently harder than they should be. I just want to be able to.
Yeah, we want to be like those calisthenics guys. Like,
Yeah, because like the
that's fucking hectic too, by the way.
Because the CrossFitters can do the kipped muscle ups, which are still hard, where you've got to like swing exactly right, which is still difficult. But I want to be able to do like a strict muscle up, like a Ross Edgley muscle up. Have you seen him do them? He'll do weighted muscle ups. Just have like a 20-kilo plate. And just be
that's hectic.
doing them for reps. I'm like, But he also swam around the UK, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, just casually.
Yeah.
There's actually a guy at work. His daughter's dating this ex-army guy, and he's this fucking crazy individual who just does like wild shit. So I think he was saying that like the top of Australia between like the Cape and Darwin on the other side, he's rowed his kayak across there.
Jesus.
Which is a feat within itself. And then he came down to Brizzy just recently, and he did like a 22 night kayak from Brisbane to Sydney. Yeah, so he'd just kayak down the side of Australia and then just pull in, set up a camp, pack it back up, jump back in, keep
right.
going.
So he'd just sleep on the beach.
Yeah, like just do this the whole way down the side of East Coast of Australia. And I'm like, that's fucking insane. Like,
that is
and
insane.
he did it. He raised a good couple of grand for I can't remember the charity, but he raised a good couple of $1,000s for charity and just donated it all and just did it for the fun of it. I'm like,
just the coming in and out would be the worst part. Like trying to come in with the wave breaks that we get.
Yeah.
In Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen it, like Ross Edgley, obviously world record, swam around the UK, took him 150 something days. So
wow,
over half a year. It might have been longer actually. But because he wanted to obviously have it all official, so he had like a skipper, and they would have to like GPS map it out. And then whenever he'd sleep, they'd have to start from the exact same spot again.
Yeah.
And they would just follow tides. So there was no day and night. It was just 6 hours of swimming, come in, sleep for X amount of hours, wake up at 2 a.m., jump back in the water in pitch black with your wetsuit on.
Yeah.
Keep swimming. And he's talking about like there's no sharks that are going to eat you up in the UK, but still jellyfish. He's like talking about swimming in pitch black and just jellyfish going in his face and getting caught up around his neck, the tentacles and stuff.
Like that. Did he do it with a snorkel or without a snorkel?
Without. So just
without.
Yeah. Just open water swimming.
That's hectic, hey. Because I know someone else that did that they used a snorkel. Well, I don't know them, but like I know of somebody else that did it that used a snorkel.
But the fun fact about swimming or doing that much endurance sport, he would eat like 15,000 calories a day whilst just doing these swims.
That's insane, eh?
He said he'd be in the water, he'd be like need to refuel. That his crew would cut a loaf of bread just along lengthways and then just put a jar of peanut butter and some jam and just pass that to him in the water and just chow that down. Just keep going. Imagine your mouth.
Fuck that.
So
especially
sticky.
with salt water as well. Make it even worse. You just have a proper chalk mouth.
So the salt water, and this is apparently a thing, but because it's like going in your mouth the whole time, his tongue, the side of his tongue basically was just like peeling off.
Yeah.
In like big chunks of flesh.
Wow.
Where it's like rubbing against his teeth and the salt water.
Ooh.
And then the wetsuit in like the first couple of weeks, the way it was designed was like cutting his neck.
Yeah.
And he had this big, massive open wound, which they would just like Vaseline up and put like plastic bags around and then just keep going.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's full on.
And this dude went to like King's School and was like pretty well off. And you're like, what? there's something wrong with you to want to do these things to yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the high that they get off it though. Like it's what everyone talks about with like runner's high, and you go to the gym, you feel better afterwards. It's just people just get addicted to that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as what we were talking about before. Like you get addicted
Adrenaline.
to adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like you just get addicted to it.
And like, sure, you can definitely argue he's on performance enhanced or just extreme genetics, but
I mean, the worst experience that I've ever had, which sucked in a wetsuit, was when I needed to shit that. No, I'm joking.
Yeah?
No. I had a wetsuit, and it was like cutting into the back of my knee, like really badly. Like it was like folding.
Like a short wetsuit?
No. It was a long one, and it got so bad that because I was out spearing in the middle of fucking Great Barrier Reef. It got so bad, I just ripped my dive knife out and just cut a hole in the back of my wetsuit so that it wouldn't keep cutting me.
The relief.
The relief until I got sunburnt there, and then that sucked even more.
Oh no!
It's like, and that was enough discomfort for me, let alone having an open wound stretching across my fucking spine.
So you think of an endurance athlete? This is not what you think he would look like.
Wow, that's not exactly what I think he would look like at all.
He's absolutely
fucking shredded,
yoked. Absolutely yoked.
Wow,
And he'll do like the muscle ups, and he'll do videos of just doing like I can't remember the name for it, but when you do like the explosive reps, so he'll do like deadlifts, but do them as if he's almost about to jump off the ground. So just like explosive reps of that. And I'm like, God damn, dude, your spine.
Yeah, wow. I started following this guy on Instagram just recently. It's like Coach Tom's or Coach Tim's or something like that. And he's all about like mobility and stuff. Some of the weird stuff that he does, it's like you're just watching him and you're like, man, if you did that in a public gym, like, people would be videoing you and being like, you know, those people that you see at like Planet Fitness in the States that are like jumping on like cables and stuff. People would be videoing you do that and posting it online, be like, look at this fucking idiot.
Weird stretches or
weird, like probably the weirdest one that that a lot of people tell you not to do is like he deadlifts, but he rolls his spine up like that.
I'm assuming
up to
he's
the
doing
top.
it quite light though.
No, he's doing like 100 and something kilos worth of it. Like it's full on. But he's like, you build up to this. He's like, that's the point. He's like, I'm not going to tell you start doing this straight away. He's like, you start off with just the bar and move up. He's like, you've got to get that mobility in your spine to be able to do that.
What's the risk to benefit here? I'm skeptical.
He's like the stretches that he does, like well up here and stuff like that. One of the most flexible people that I've seen, and he's fucking jacked as well. You're like, what? Like, just going against like the norm of everything. But it's like you also see a lot of these like not so much bodybuilders, but like a lot of guys that just focus on like, you know, just your traditional exercises like your leg press, your squat, your deadlift, and then they're just fucking bench pressing shit and then cable curling and all that sort of stuff. They walk around like a fucking penguin. They're just like walking around like this because they've got no mobility. Yeah. And it's like, well, what's the point? Like,
yeah. I'd love to be more flexible, but like compared to others, I've got pretty good mobility. Every time I do my annual CrossFit class and I do a squat, they're always like, oh my God, you'd be so good at Olympic lifting. You've got such good mobility. I'm like, yeah, but I just don't want to do that. You mean I have to work on my fitness?
Fuck that. Yeah, well, when I did my quad annual park run, was 4 years ago. And I went along to it. That's when I was like smoking and doing all sorts of stupid shit. And I got on the piss with your dad the night before, and we got fucking shit-faced. And then we woke up and went to park run the next day. I was hungover. And then I'm there with Jackie and your mum, and I don't think your dad came. I think he stayed in bed.
Probably.
Anyway, because I promised I'd go, and I was like, I'll fucking go. And then so I went, and then I beat them all. And that was enough for me. I think I ran 24 minutes.
24, okay, yeah.
So it's like, that's enough for me for 4 years. I'll go again soon. When it's a bit cooler, I'll go again.
That's quite some fitness you got on you there. Some running fitness for 24 minutes. I think my best is like 30.
My best is 21.
21.
21.
God damn.
21. That's when I was like 18 or something like that. 17.
Yeah,
18
I got
or
it.
something. So that was when I was quite young. But
Oh, man.
But
Yeah.
but there was people that were doing, so that was at the Gold Coast Marathon, not the marathon, but like the 5K version
Yeah.
of it. And there was like 16-year-old guys that came over from the States. They were running 16.5.
That's so quick.
16.5 for 5Ks. I'm like, wow, like that's fucking moving. Hey?
That's a sprint, basically, for 5 kilometers. That's wild.
But does that go back to the limiting beliefs thing though as well?
Well,
The guy, the
my
fucking
God.
marathon runner?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Anything like that, any sport has like a limit where people think like that's it.
I can't do this anymore.
Humans can't go past this. Like nobody's got this guy's genetics. Then another person does it, and as soon as they do, the subsequent year, multiple people will beat that time.
Yeah.
Same with the marathon thing, right?
Yeah.
Beats the time, and then everyone's like, "Oh, we can do a sub." What is it? Is it sub 2 hours now?
Sub 2 hours, yeah. So that was the thing, is that all the scientists were saying that sub 2 hours for marathon would be beaten in like 2075, I want to say, or 2059. It was one of those numbers, I can't remember.
Oh, so they were actually predicting.
They were predicting that it would be beaten then. Because, like, you know,
Right.
humans are just getting better and better and better and better and better at shit.
at everything.
And everything. So, and then this runner, I can't remember his name, African runner, fucking smashes it. Like, hour 59 something.
Yeah.
And he's like, they said I couldn't do it. He's like, that was fuel for me to do it. It's just like people just get told that they can't do something and they're like, fuck you, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And they just don't stop until they've done it. Like did you see the sprinter, the 16-year-old sprinter?
No.
Just recently here in Brisbane.
Yeah, I heard people talking about him actually.
Bro, insane.
Just people are like, he's too young. He's gonna peak too soon,
I can't
and then
remember his name.
he won't get to the level they reckon. But who knows?
Bro, like even Usain was like, he looks like a younger version of me.
Oh,
Yeah. It's like
Okay.
he ran like 10 something at the age of 16. So he just smoked like all these other kids.
Yeah.
And the fucking craziest part about it was, so he ran a world record for under 16s, which was like 10:30 something or whatever it was. Can't remember. But so he ran it. It was all kosher there. Like there was no arguing the fact that he ran that.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't give him the record. The reason being was because the record has to be run with a tailwind no greater than like 3 meters a second or some shit. And he had like 3.5.
Yeah.
And it's like, so they were like, nah, too much tailwind. It's like, fuck.
Fair enough, bro. He caught the wind. He
Yeah.
just had his sail open.
So, bro, he probably disrupted the fucking sensors. He was running that fast. Yeah. Like, this guy smoked him, man. Like, and then his 200 was even crazier. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely just blew him out of the water again. From a 16-year-old.
200 and then 400. 400 I think I've done. 200, 800, 400. And the 800, mistake. I remember doing an 800 meter race and I was like, what is this? This is like cross country.
Yeah. It
That was
sucked, hey. I used to do a
regrets.
lot of athletics.
That was like, what, 3 laps of the oval or something? Something like that. 2.5 or something. I don't know.
Nah, it would have been 2. 'Cause they're
Probably not
usually,
even 2.
Usually 400. Yeah, they're 400 because you can do a relay on them. So you can do 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. See, it's 2 laps. But it's a long way. Like, especially when you're sprinting half of it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, well, I remember doing like, because I used to be fairly good at the 100 sprints. And I was like, yeah, I can do the 200. You get like
Different
halfway
ball
and you're
game,
like,
eh?
oh, hang on a minute. I got to do the same thing again at my full sprint pace. Like,
Yeah.
oh, God.
Yeah.
Dying. That's like when people do sprints as an exercise and you're like, you sprint for what, like 30-second sprint? Like that's a long time. Hello, we have an audience. Audience out the window.
We have a streaker in the yard. Hi. Have my family poking their head through the window.
It's a great pose.
Yeah. If I ever get arrested and they look through my phone, like there is Remy child pornography on there. It's like
I don't know if
him
you-
running around the yard naked.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you can call that pornography, but
It's like, where do you draw the line? The fact that he's naked on my phone.
yeah.
Yeah. The sprinting is so good though, but I mean it's so easy to pull muscles if you don't do it recently.
Yeah.
The last time I sprinted was in Canada at the Red Antler on Silver Star Mountain. And the reason that I sprinted was because there was this random dude that rocked up and he was having a bucks party at the Antler. And I was there with like all my mates. And like these guys were fucking lit, hey? Like they were absolutely lit. And the groom had a shirt on and he had to do a series of challenges for that night. So he had to like fucking hug a stranger, swap underwear with a stranger, swap shirts with a stranger. And then he had to run like 100 meters sprint against a stranger. And I was I was getting lit with them because they just rocked up and like we were just vibing. And so they were just buying me drinks. And I was like, yeah, this is all right. So I just hung out with them. Yeah. And anyways, he's like, oh, do you want to be I'll sprint against you. I was like, yeah, I'll sprint on you. Fuck. Anyway, like a couple of weeks earlier, I actually pulled my hammy. So I was like,
Great time to sprint.
I was half pissed and I was like, oh, whatever. And then anyway, we sprinted and I beat him. And all his mates come on to me like, do you know who he is? And I was like, no. Like he plays soccer for Canada. And I was
shit.
Oh shit, really? They're like, you just beat him. And I was like, well, he's pretty drunk. They're like, nah, dude, like that's different, eh? Like you shouldn't be beating him. And I was like,
wow.
Sorry.
Yeah. You're a sprinter.
Yeah. I was like,
That's
whatever.
It.
But I guess like I've always asked that question as well, is like, does everyone have like a natural ability to do something?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Everyone's like, mine is run, like, despite the fact that I don't do any fucking running at all. Like, if I was to put time, energy, and effort into training for running, I'd be a fucking wicked runner.
Yeah.
But what's the point? Like, I'm not going to go anywhere with it. I'm not gonna do anything
You're not
with it at the moment.
if you're not gonna enjoy it or do any.
And I don't particularly enjoy it, so it's like I much prefer like weightlifting and shit like that at the moment.
You beat him in a sprinting race. Like if he plays soccer, sure, great, but that's also endurance. Like you want to be on the field for ages. You do have to be quick, but doesn't mean he can beat someone that's good at sprinting.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Specifically
good at sprinting. I said this in a previous podcast as a fun fact, but like apparently statistically, once you hit, I think it was 30 even, people over 30 rarely ever sprint again. Yeah. Because what reason do we have to sprint?
Yep.
Which is interesting. Like, and then you think about it, you're like, when's the last time I sprinted? Yours was probably Canada. Yeah, when you raced that guy.
Actually, no, the last time I sprinted or tried to sprint was when Sushi got sucked into the thing.
Wow.
Karawinya.
Wasn't exactly a sprint. That was like
I was fucking
wading through the water. And
if I could sprint, I would have been sprinting.
Oh, yeah, diving over the edge.
Fucking oath.
Jesus.
That's probably the closest to a fight or flight I've been in recently.
Yeah.
That was like my personal safety, not so much of a concern as something or someone else's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's usually like what the whole fight or flight thing is like a
the
safety
adrenaline
thing.
Yeah,
that was
true.
like because then once I'd grabbed her, I'd managed to grab onto like a tree root, and then the water was actually, it was fucking going.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there was a lot going on there.
Oh yeah, remember when we tubed?
Yeah.
And M came off? She was off the tube, her tube was stuck, she's like up, like further up than me. I'm still going down and I'm like, fuck, I gotta stop here, otherwise I'm just leaving her there. So I grab a tree and I'm like, yeah! And I'm like, just crawl back up! And hanging onto this tree. Yeah, that's some rapids.
Yeah, so, I mean, there was a lot of pressure there, and I've got the dog, and then got me, and then I'm got, like, my leg hooked in somewhere, and I've managed to like grab her and just like fucking throw her up on the thing, and then trying to get myself up as well. I was like, holy shit! Like, I don't know if I should have done this.
Probably pretty lucky though that your stomach wasn't more scratched
Mauled
up
by the rock. Yeah. Luckily, there's rapids there. They've been there for a long time, so it's worn down a little bit. Smooth rock. Smooth
rock from water sanding it down.
Mm-hmm. Fucking oath.
Sprinting. I think the last time I sprinted was probably just on one of those, the manual treadmills, the curved ones at the gyms, where you can test your sprint. Would have been just that, like just testing top speed.
Just for shits and gigs.
For like 1 second, and then
I need
you
to
can just like grab the side rails and stop. You're like,
yeah,
easy.
Fucking oath. Have you had your mate that does the horror movies on your podcast yet?
Yeah. Joseph. Yeah. He's been on.
It's a very cool little passion that he's got.
Yeah, and I haven't seen his first one, which looks really cool. I've seen his second one, and it was weird. Like, it's very alternative horror.
Alternative. I love when you're like trying to find a not so insulting word, but it like needs to.
But he knows it. Like he's just like, I just wanted to make something like crazy, like just pretty weird people wearing masks and stuff, and this chick like lost in a forest, and the walkie-talkies like sounding, and then she finds the other walkie-talkie and it's like a dead body and stuff, but it's been decayed for years and all this shit.
True.
It's like, oh, this is creepy as fuck, dude.
It's like the lake house sort of setup.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a little bit, and he showed it to me and Joel, and we were like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, so the storyline's a little bit hard to follow. And we're like, yes.
I can tell.
But yeah, it was strange. But the first one looks quite cool. Which is like a guy who I think they hire him to spy on someone. So he's like in this abandoned house.
Yeah, that's the one you showed me the shorts to.
The trailer, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looks creepy and sick.
That actually, like, just from the trailer, that looked... Because, I mean, it's happening so much now, like, with all movies and things like that. Like, it's the fucking same shit every single time.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not a superhero movie, or it's not like, a Christmas movie or something like that, it just follows the same fucking script, which is why, like, legendary directors like, Christopher Nolan and Quentin Tarantino all, like, have, like, these real abstract sort of movies that they do. Maybe not so much Christopher Nolan, because he did, like, Batman and Interstellar and shit, but...
Yeah, but they have, like, movies that aren't as mainstream, where you're like, oh, this is a bit more artistic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's, like, I think the world is, like, devoid of directors like that at the moment, because like, anything you watch these days is just not that great. Like, it doesn't blow you away. The comedies... You rarely sit down and watch like a new comedy and you're like, wow, that was like the funniest thing I've seen.
Yeah, where's all the teen movies gone?
Like, all the dumb ones are from like back in the day. Yeah. They were fucking lit.
Where's all the American Pies, but modern version? Oh, there was one that I watched the other day with like young kids, like college kind of thing. I don't even remember what it was, but it gave me like Superbad vibes.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like, it's like the new version of Superbad, but
it
worse.
gets to the point now, though, like, where if you watch a good one, you're, like, telling everyone about it.
Yeah.
Like, everyone. Like, I'd just like to tell everyone right now, if you haven't watched Three Body Problem on Netflix yet, you have to fucking watch it.
I haven't.
Super good. Super good.
Yeah, I need to.
Super good. I've even noticed on Netflix, it's like...
Is that just a film? Or is it a series?
Nah, it's a series. So it's actually a book. It's based on a book. I think I remember... Little tiny spider. I think I remember reading it, and it was like... No, I didn't read it, sorry. I was reading about it, that there was either 3 or 4 books. I can't remember. But the first series is the first book. So they're doing like a whole series per book.
That's
like kind of like Game of Thrones setup.
Yeah,
right? Like, they make a whole series per book.
Apparently that's what they're going to do with Harry Potter. Going to remake Harry Potter
Right.
as a series. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Milk it. Milk it.
Milk that puppy, baby.
Milk that puppy. Get the
Why
detail
not?
of the books in there.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, like I just find like a lot of movies these days, like you just fucking not that great. Like
Yeah.
probably one of the more refreshing ones. Like we've watched some more refreshing ones recently, like Anyone But You, just like a little rom-com one
Okay.
with Sydney Sweeney in it. And
Okay.
then we watched
Did you watch Fall Guy?
No, Jackie
It's-
said we have to watch that.
It's not that good, but
Oh, I'm not watching it.
we went and watched it in the cinema because it was all filmed in Sydney.
Yeah, right.
So we're like, oh, this is in the harbour. So
It's cool when you see
recognize
shit like
everything.
that,
Yeah,
eh?
because like they would get it all the time if you lived in California. You'd be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, I know that spot.
Yeah.
You don't get that here.
No.
Whereas there we were like, oh, I know where that is.
That's where, like, in, I think it's Doctor Strange.
Where they filmed a bunch of stuff in Brizzy.
Filmed it in Brizzy, yeah.
But they literally just transformed it into New York and
Yeah.
like switched the lanes
Yeah,
and stuff.
switched
yeah.
it all around and stuff. And it's like, why fucking bother? Like, surely there's a building in...
Well, wasn't that a Thor? And it was because
No. It had Thor in it.
I
think
yeah.
he-
So I think Hemsworth was like, "No, we're filming it here, bruh."
Yeah. Because it's close to his Westfield down in Byron Bay.
Yeah. I just want to stay in my Byron Bay mansion.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think he's also consciously trying to bring more of the industry here, not just for his convenience, but like for the movie industry in
100%.
Australia.
Like, the movie, like, I think the last good movie that came out of Australia that I watched was fucking Kenny. Have you seen Kenny?
No.
Bro, like that's the sort of refreshing comedy that you need in life. Do you know what I mean?
Kenny.
It's about a guy who works at a toilet company
Ah,
and like the trials and tribulations. So fun facts about Kenny, like literally one of the most legendary movies ever. Shane Jacobson, absolute gem of an Australian. But it was supposed to be like a home movie. Like it was
like a super low budget, or
super low budget, like supposed to just be like just something to do for the family, kind of like it was supposed to be a fucking nothing film. Anyway, this company, and its name was Splashdown, is the name of the toilet company, right? Fun fact. Another fun fact on top of that, the company that I work for, Fulton Hogan, I raise order numbers for like different suppliers that we use. We've got to order parts and all sorts of shit off. Anyway, one of them's Ashdown Ingram, which is like a parts supply company like Napa. So they supply like Repco and all those guys around here. They own Repco. Anyway, so I type in ASH, right, as the search thing for it, and Splashdown comes up. Like, we have an account with Splashdown, which is really cool,
nice.
fun fact. But, yeah, Splashdown, the company, ended up giving them like $1 million to make this fucking movie. And it just like blew up back in the day when I was like
Sick.
maybe 10.
yeah, right. So it's a while old.
Yeah, it's old as now, but like, just like a refreshing Australian movie. Like you ask anyone else out in the world, they wouldn't know about it. A lot of people don't know about it, but fucking really good movie.
Kenny,
just funny, just funny. And that's the sort of like movies that come out of like left field, and you're just like, wow, like that movie was so good.
That's
And
why
everyone's got those movies that they like really hold dear.
That's why the lower budget or people that just want to make movies for passion, they will gravitate towards the horror because you don't need good actors. You don't need expensive actors. You just make it.
You don't need
and
a
if it's-
massive budget.
Yeah, and if it's creative enough and it's good, then it might get some traction and you'll make some money. Whereas if you wanted to make any other genre, you need and dialogue. Not much dialogue needed.
Yeah.
I could just be like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas any other genre, if you tried to make a
Storyline,
comedy,
dialogue,
you'd have to get the timing right, the actors have to be good, the writing has to be good,
Yeah.
and like otherwise it just
Hard.
bombs.
Yeah. It's
So
hard to do.
horror's a semi-easy one to make. So
Well, fucking like you just nailed it. Look at Saw.
yeah,
You know how that started?
it's probably the same, is it? Just
So
super
it
low
was
budget.
like, I think it was a research project or something along those lines where some film students challenged themselves to make a movie inside one room,
Yeah, right.
and they came up with Saw.
Yeah.
And that was, and like Saw, like what fucking 50 we're up to, like who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah.
Like it just continued on forever. But like Saw 1, 2, 3, like, I mean, it was basically like a birthday every year. Like a new Saw movie would come out.
Exactly,
Like,
I remember that.
that was the joke. Like, it
And
was
then you'd
like,
go
oh
and
my
see it
God,
in
it's the fucking
cinemas.
anniversary of Saw. Like, you know, it's a birthday. It happens every year, and they just get worse and worse and worse as you get older.
More elaborate and not just in one room. They got more killing gadgets.
Yeah.
More
and
gore.
The craziest fact that I found out just recently from Instagram was that, you know, the jaw machine that chick wears was fucking fully functionable. Like, it actually snapped open and stuff. Like, it was legit. Like, if someone had pressed a button, it would have ripped her fucking head off.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine wearing that?
Shot not.
Yeah, nah.
I'd be like, nah, probably not, eh?
No, I'm out. I've had enough.
Where's my stunt double?
Yeah.
Mate, you're in a low-budget horror. Put the thing in your mouth.
Yeah, pretty much.
God damn it.
But yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I just see a lot of it these days. It's just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat,
Yeah.
rinse and repeat.
Well, I mean, it's like...
Look at the Star Wars movies, like episode, 7 was a rinse and repeat of, what was it, 5? 4?
I don't know.
5? Can't remember. But it was just like basically the same plot. Big round thing up in the sky. It's going to blow something up. If we don't blow it up, oh my God, we found a little weakness in it. We blew it up. We saved the day. Woohoo.
Yeah. I mean, it's always
like,
going to be that, but then you got to have the nuances around it because we're not going to, well, we could, but we're not going to come up with major new concepts for storylines, right? That are going to be intriguing to us or interesting. But I kind of like the, like an old concept and then make a new version of it and make it like more modern. And same with music, right? The reemergence of country music. If you try to make me listen to country music that's older than 20 years old, I'll be like, this sucks. Whereas now the new stuff, I'm like, oh, the production value is up here. Like, it sounds great. It's a full sound. It's like basically pop rock.
Yeah.
But with a country twang to
Pop
it. And I'm like,
country,
give it to me.
Yeah.
Feed my ears.
It's fucking so popular, like all those Morgan Wallen at the moment.
Yeah. But it's
Teddy Swims even to a point, like he's not country, but it's like this like raspy pop that's like different from what everyone's normally
like. Give it to my ears.
Fantastic, yeah,
it's great. And the same with like electronic stuff or like, because I love a lot of songs from the 80s, but I'll listen to them after listening to like a modern song, and I'm like, I need it to be fuller.
Yeah.
Where is the sound stage at? Like someone remake it, please.
Yeah. Which is why like a lot of the remixes and stuff that come out for those older songs, like they don't even have to really remix it. It just needs to have like a pop beat behind it or like an EDM beat behind it.
I don't want them to try and change it.
Yeah.
Just make the same thing with modern instrument, modern recording gear, and feed my ears with it.
Yeah. And just on like an IV drip straight into my eardrum.
Yeah. I wonder how long it would take because like a bunch of people are remaking older songs, right? How much longer do we have to wait for people to start remaking Phil Collins? I want some modern remakes of Phil Collins, but a lot of his still sound quite top notch.
Yeah.
If you're talking like
high production value back in the day still is high production.
Yeah.
Like it's still
at
really
that
good.
level, it's still good. But like try to make me listen to a Led Zeppelin song. I'm like, nah. Like it might be a good song, but I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah, where's the bass line? Can't hear it.
Where the bass at? Yeah.
The drums sound muddy.
Even the remastered ones don't sound that fantastic half the time.
No.
They just sound a bit grainy still.
But if you've got some with a drum machine, like some Phil Collins, like Invisible Touch or something, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you're all over it. That's why a lot of rockheads just run them off fucking record off vinyl.
Right.
Because you get more bass that comes through it if you get the high-end needles for them.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I went down the rabbit hole in because I was looking at getting one. Holy shit, you can pump some money into them.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Record players.
You can get like a couple of $1,000 needles.
Oh,
That's not even including the fucking
and that's just for
itself.
A record player, right? That's not like... Because the only thing I know is the DJ world, and that's expensive too, because you got to have like two-way needles because you want to be able to scratch back and forwards. But I never got into scratching, so I'm like, I don't need vinyl, so just go digital.
But no, like these ones, like spend a fucking mozza on them, man. You can spend so much money on them, and it's just like And even then, you still don't have the speakers. Like, you've still got to hook the speakers up.
Yeah.
I went into this, I think it was Ted's Hi-Fi, I think it was called. It's down at, like, Capalaba sort of area. And I walked in because I was looking for a needle for my grandmother. She had a record player. The needle was broken. And I was like, well, why don't we just fix it? They're like, oh, no, it's too hard. I'm like, well, do you like listening to records?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we used to really like coming out here and listening to records. I'm like, well, good, I'll fucking fix it for you.
Mm.
So anyway, I went to this Todd's Hi-Fi joint and walked in. I was like, you got needles? He's like, yeah, showed me all these needles. I was like, holy fuck, like, these are really expensive. And I was like, no, I don't know if they're going to fit. And I'm like, here's the needle I've got. And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, well, what do we do? I'm like, if I buy it and take it away, can I bring it back? He's like, no. He's like, if you buy it, you own it. Hey. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, anyway, I ended up finding one online for like $20. But
nice.
But this joint, man, had like $18,000 speakers. Yeah. And it's a speaker. It looks like a Nautilus shell like this. And it's $18,000.
But that's...
like, what the fuck?
That's like something real fancy, right?
It's fancy, but the sound that came out of them was just on another level as well. Like, so crisp.
Yeah, it doesn't... The only reason I'm not surprised is because, like...
You're spending $18,000.
No, I mean, at the price is because I look at studio monitors. And, like, the brand that I have now, Atom Audio, that's, like, their first time they've cracked into the cheap consumer market. And they were, like, $600. That's great. But they make a pair for $38,000.
Wow.
A pair of studio monitors. And it's, like, obviously a lot bigger and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, imagine just the... Because, like, now I listen to music on those $600 speakers and I'm like, there's detail in this song that I've never heard before. Like, imagine if it's $38,000 and then you put it in, like, a studio room.
I wonder at what point on the graph does it become not worth it? Like,
it's got to taper out,
there's got to be, like, an X and a Y here, and there's got to be an interjection somewhere where it's like, this is the point where going further up the money scale doesn't matter anymore.
Well, yeah, this is the point where the human ears will no longer pick up the difference.
It's like the thing with 4K. They reckon we can't see anything better than 4K.
Yeah.
So, but there's 8K now. So it's like stupid. But you can't see the difference between 4K and 8K.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know. I haven't started using 8K at all.
Mm.
But I think it's like, you can then crop in and it won't. Like, it'll be still high resolution, so you can digitally crop in post.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why, like, the what are they called? Sports cameras, like GoPros and stuff. They'll do, like, 5K ultra wide, so then you can crop in to your framing and still get everything in.
I mean, I remember watching shit on YouTube when it was, like, 360p.
Yeah.
And we all
see that now, and you're like,
it's just like it's just like one pixel.
Yeah.
Like
something's wrong here. It's not buffering properly.
Yeah.
It's
it looks like
broken.
you're watching fucking Minecraft. Like,
whenever you click the quality one, if 360 is at the top, you're like, this is not a reputable channel. Back. Get out of this.
This was filmed from a potato.
Legit.
But yeah, like, I think it's crazy at the moment what's going on with, like, technology, like AI. Everything
AI
is just
crazy.
Insane. Like, have you seen, like, how many different brands of robots there are now?
Brands?
Yeah,
really?
like, you've got Boston Robotics and Tesla Robot. I watched one the other day, and there was probably about 10. Like, China, Russia, like, everyone's making fucking robots now. And it's like, wow.
Some people legit think that that's going to be a normal thing for a household to have.
Oh, yeah. Dude, fuck. TVs. 40 years ago, if you had a TV, you were considered extremely wealthy. And now, like, if you walk into someone's house and they don't have a TV, you're like, where's your TV?
Well, even the Tesla ones apparently will cost like 25 grand.
That's not a ridiculous amount of money, though.
But that's the Tesla one, right? So surely there'll be one that's
there'll
like
be cheaper ones,
way cheaper.
Yeah.
Straight off the bat. And then they'll just get cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah. It's competition. Like, what does it do, though? Like, I mean, you can get it to, like, load your dishes and, you know,
all
like,
of it.
Clean the house.
All of it.
Fucking do
You're
whatever
just going to become a lazy slob.
Make dinner for me.
Shovel food into your mouth and then be like, robot, clean out.
Robot.
And it'll
Sort
clean
this out.
And then
That's nuts, though.
you can just be like, robot, I want you to clean the house, but while I'm at work. I don't want to be hearing no vacuums while I'm here.
Yeah.
So as soon as like proximity sensor, you know, as soon as you're home, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're home. I'll stop cleaning.
was
I'll stop making noise.
I heard a thing recently where an AI company, I think it was OpenAI, they had a new version that they were gonna like go live with basically, and they told the current version of AI, they were like, okay, so we're gonna shut you down. We've got a new version. We're gonna upload the new version, and then we're gonna reboot you. And he tried to save himself somewhere else to avoid getting like essentially fucking deleted. And I'm like, here we fucking go. Like this is fucking next level. It's like it's already got self-preservation on its fucking mind. It's like, that's really bad because self-preservation makes people do insane things. Like if you're going to lose face in front of people, you'll do crazy shit. If you're going to lose all your money, if you're going to lose your family, if you're going to lose anything, like it can force people to do some unhinged shit.
Yeah.
Like, let alone a fucking basically like a mini supercomputer.
Well,
and the new supercomputer that Google made. Did you see that?
Oh, is it the quantum one?
I think it's the quantum one, or it's the one beyond the quantum one.
Right.
So basically, it can do calculations that would take the current supercomputer, like the best one that they've got, something like 11 million years to do.
Yeah.
And that's a supercomputer.
Exciting, isn't it?
And we have AI.
I'm excited for it. Glue those two together and then just, it's gonna be wild. I think like this whole reel scrolling thing is gonna get so saturated with AI, it's gonna be crazy. Like, you can imagine a not so distant future where we've currently got an algorithm and it knows whose content to show us. Imagine just an algorithm that knows what to show you and it just generates it on the spot.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it just reads how you're feeling, reads your micro expressions. You just scroll, you're like, oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah. Well, there was a thing I saw recently, I don't know if it's true or not, but they were like, the Apple iPhone takes infrared photos of you every fucking X amount of seconds.
I believe it.
And basically, you can show it through like an infrared lens, like, and you just see like this person's holding a phone, then it just goes like, and then 10 seconds later, it's like, consistently doing that, just consistently watching what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Have
like
you
you
seen
put a little bit of
the,
tape over the cunt.
You've seen there's like these girls and they're like, oh my God, look what we've discovered. They got a little spider in a jar and they're pointing the camera at it. They're like, check this out. And they tap the glass of the jar and the spider like doesn't do anything. And then they tap the spider on the phone screen and it like flinches. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what? And I read the comments. The phone's autofocus uses infrared light. So every time they're tapping it, it's like a bright flash for this spider because it can see that light. So it's like focusing on it and the spider's like, oh God, what was that?
Wow.
So you're basically just flash banging this spider by focusing on it through your phone.
Hectic.
Yeah.
That's out of control, eh? I haven't finished my beer yet.
Finish him. Yeah, autofocus infrared.
Autofocus infrared. I like it.
Prost. We've finished the 1 liter.
Thank you very much.
First time, Nick, on the 1 liter. We've got to get you in the studio.
We'll get us in the studio with some beats.
Hopefully this audio is all right.
I think the audio will be fine.
Should be fine.